Welcome back to my channel. Here we are talking about movies, and today there is nothing special or particular or relevant that is going on around the movies that I'm deciding to talk about today, but everything doesn't have to be a trend. Okay? So the movie that we're going to be talking about today, the original version, was created in 1977. It's called Suspiria. I want to say it like Suspiria. Suspiria. No. Suspiria. Suspiria? I think it's Suspiria. I read a lot of books, but anyway, there are spoilers present in this. So if you haven't seen these movies or if you don't want to know the plot, there's some spoilers. Some. Warning. So today we are going to be talking about which is better, the original, the OG, or the remake. And I'll just give you my answer right now. It's the remake. It's the remake. And it's no shade to the original because you wouldn't have the remake without the original. But the remake really gave me everything that I wanted from the first one. And so for that, I was happy. Honestly, from the first violent scene that takes place in the movie, I was satisfied. And it just kept getting better. The original Suspiria you can stream on Tubi for free if you have that. And you can stream the remake because it's an Amazon, it's a Prime Video film. You can find it on Prime Video. So what is the movie about? The movie is about a ballet dancer from America who travels to Berlin to join this dancing company, and she finds out that they are witches. Now, in the first movie, it's more of a rebellious stance and like fighting against it. And the second movie is welcoming that energy or like diving into it. The movie is about witches. The movie is about witches. So let's get into the first one. If you can see these dead flowers, they're here for a reason. They go with the movie. The light is red for a reason. This shirt is red for a reason. Why? Because red, right off the back, we see the character surrounded, the main character surrounded by red light. Almost every frame in the movie, the original, had red in it. And red can convey many different things in movies, passion, anger, fear. It's just like, it can say a lot, but it's also used a lot in scary movies because, I mean, blood is red and blood can be scary. You don't want to see your own blood outside your body, do you? No. The main character, Susie, definitely questions authority almost right away, and not in a rude way, but just, I don't have to follow all of your rules. And so I knew that whatever conclusion that we were going to get to at the end, she was not going to be with it. She was going to be against it. Here's what I'll say about the original. They had me in the beginning and they had me at the end. I really enjoyed those two parts. Everything else, though, I was just, it didn't feel like there was a connection. Like, we're getting scenes, but I didn't really understand what any of it meant. The second movie did a really good job at making it make sense. Like, it wasn't hard to figure out. The original movie is not very dialogue heavy at all. There are not many conversations. It's actually a very quiet film. I wanted so much more ballet. Like, I danced for a short time when I was younger. I danced for Alvin Ailey at their dance camp. So I like ballet. And I thought because the setting, which there are not a lot of locations in this movie at all, was this dance studio company, I thought that we were going to get a lot of ballet. We did not in this first one. Because this movie was made in the 70s, the suspense was like present, but the like actual violent scenes, it's just, they did what they could at the time. Some were good. Some just made me laugh and therefore was not scary because I'm just like, oh. Not all, but like, this is what they could do at the time with their technology. And it could have been like very scary then. But yeah, so for the first movie, I just felt like the beginning and the end was really good. I was not satisfied with the center. I would not watch it again or really recommend it. But what I did like is that at the end of the movie, it felt like this was an introduction for people who may not know what witches are. Like, this might be the start of witches. Not the start, because this is, witches are like an old tale, folklore, etc. But this movie could have been the introduction to some people about witches that are scary. At the end, we had dark green skin, long nails, flaky skin, black clothing. So it put those, like, when what you think of a witch was there, even though it was a small scene. But yeah, so for me, like, when I stopped watching the movie, I was just, okay.
Complex, incredible.
1, 2, 3.
The way she transmits her work.
You have to decide, what is it you want to be for this company?
There's more in that building than what you can see, Doctor.
All right, so the second movie, starring Tilda Swinton, Dakota Johnson, and Mia Goth, which I feel like she's coming for the Scream Queen crown. We know who it belongs to right now. So my first introduction with to Mia Goth was the movie X. She did a great job. I haven't got around to watching Pearl yet. That's on my list. So when I saw her, I was like, oh yeah. I'm looking specifically for her performance, because what she's delivered so far, loved it. So the movie, same exact plot, because it is a remake. There were similarities, but they weren't carbon copies. So the introduction is fairly similar, except for the fact that in the beginning, we are introduced to what is to be feared in this movie, witches. Compared to the first movie, you don't really know what you're fearing until, more than halfway through. But in this one, it's right off the back. Witches are to be feared. Are witches real? What's going on? The second movie is not all in English. The dialogue is not all in English, which I love because it takes place in another country. And I thought that threw me off with the first one. I was like, okay, if they're in Berlin, why, like, it's English this entire time. And it wasn't like that for the second movie, which, cool. And they made the color of the words red, because there was just red everywhere. In the second film, there's more presence of the outside world, which I like. There was a better connection to the scenes. Like, when I was watching the second one, I understood what was taking place and why. Versus compared to the first one, I was kind of just like, I didn't understand where it was going. What was the direction? Both movies have two big final acts. And the final act for the remake, I said there was a lot of present, and they said, how can we use as much red as we possibly can? And it was amazing. I enjoyed first of all, my jaw was on the floor. And this movie is not scary. Neither of them were scary. But that scene, there was so much going on, and this final act was very drawn out. It was very dramatic. It was so long. Like, it just felt like so much happened in that scene, between the dancing and the blood and the switches of power. It was amazing. There was a lot to be revealed in that scene, and it was just good. Like, it was, ooh. Being that the second one was a remake, it stayed connected. The roots were tied to the original. The main actress of the first one was one of the mothers or superior women. They're like the directors. Anyway, there are connections to the remake. The remake didn't like flip the movie on its head and did everything completely different. No, it did a lot of things that were actually similar. It just felt like it made more sense. Like, the first movie felt like a rough draft, and the remake felt like a dissertation, an essay, a story. It was just so good. This, and I don't know how many times I'll say this, but the remake was better than the original. It was. The second movie just really gave me what I wanted. Oh, there was a black woman in there. I wasn't expecting that at all. So I'm happy for that. There was more than one black woman. There was a black dancer with natural hair, and there was a black she was like one of the directors. That was a surprise. I was happy about that. The first one is like, What is a Witch? And the remake is like, I'm a Witch. Yeah. Anyway, that's all for today. I just wanted to talk about those movies. I'm still learning, like I said, about movies. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Comment your favorite horror, thriller, suspense movie, psychological thriller. This one, it really was a good time. That's really all I can say.